Thanks to everyone who's been following Brave Little Books this past month. We're kicking off February with Dana Spiotta's novel, Stone Arabia. This was a quick read. The prose is conversational and bright. Sure, there are chapter breaks, but for the most part I felt this narrative never stopped moving, for better for worse. On the one hand, we never get too bogged down despite its primary focus, a poor, alcoholic, washed-up musician named Nick Worth. On the other hand, this kept the novel well within the realm of the mind rather than braving the drama of the heart. That's not to say the characters are unfeeling. In fact, our narrator Denise is a self-proclaimed overfeeler. She repeatedly cries in front of the television over tragic news stories, but finds this inexplicable. She insists she is overreactive, hyper-emotional. But rather than sharing in her emotions, her self-deprecating tone tells us not to. Again, I could say that tone works for better for worse. I mean, this made me think hard. Mostly about the relationship between art and audience, which is a major theme of the book. Nick Worth has been off the map as a musician for many years, and his only remaining audience is Denise, his sister. And let's be real, your sister doesn't really count as having an audience. But not only does Nick continue to make music, he actually chronicles it, as if he were continuing as a successful musician the entire time. He even writes his own rave reviews and scathing critiques, pasting them together in a scrapbook of his career. The most obvious question then is, what does it mean to make art that no one sees, or hears, as the case may be? But from there, we come to a deeper question about the nature of art itself. I mean, what makes art art? Bear with me. Isn't art inextricable from audience? Isn't art the manifestation of an individual's perspective on what they observe in the world? In itself, it's an act of viewership. And then once we have the piece of art, can we call it art if no one looks at it? Isn't the very nature of art a kind of communication? So if no one's there to look at it, or listen to it as the case may be, is it still art? I might be getting carried away here, but what if art only becomes art when you encounter it? That would make art, by nature, inseparable from audience. If we apply that definition to Stone Arabia, Nick Worth is an artist. Chronicles or no chronicles, artists are always the first to examine their own work. They become their own audience. But I want to bring this idea back around to Denise, watching the news, the other major spectacle of Stone Arabia. Because the thing with the news is, what is she being moved by? Is it reality, or is it art? I mean, photography and film are widely accepted art forms, and it isn't just any broadcast that gets the tears rolling. It's really particular ones, like this Amish girl who goes missing in upstate New York. First, it's the picture of the girl, which she describes as not awkward or pose-looking at all. And then it's the interview with her mother. The Amish don't usually go on TV, so as she's watching the mother, Denise imagines what she might be seeing, and what she might be imagining us seeing. It's like she's moved by the lens rather than the reality of the situation. But isn't art, in the end, just a vehicle through which we look at the world and finally, hopefully, relate? Or something like that. So those are my thoughts on Dana Spiotta's Stone Arabia. See you next week on Brave Little Books.